22 actors currently rotting in jail. A Grammy winner convicted of assault, a reality TV darling now facing decades for fraud. These aren't plot twists, they're real life. 22 celebrities traded the spotlight for a jail cell, and their crimes will leave you speechless. Dive into the dark side of fame and discover the shocking truth. Amy Locane. Melrose Place actress Amy Locane, now 52, made headlines not for her on-screen performances, but for a tragic DUI accident on June 27, 2010. Driving 18 mph over the speed limit in Montgomery Township, New Jersey, Locane's vehicle struck another, killing 60-year-old Helen Seaman and severely injuring her husband, Fred. Locane's BAC was almost triple the legal limit, adding another layer to the already devastating incident. Instead of gracing magazine covers, Locane found herself facing second-degree vehicular homicide and third-degree assault by auto charges. Adding a further twist, Locane had previously been involved in a minor driving incident where she damaged a mailbox just a short time before the fatal crash, raising questions about her judgment even prior to that night. The ensuing legal proceedings were a protracted affair. The initial 2012 verdict saw Locane sentenced to a mere 3 years, a decision met with public outcry due to its perceived leniency considering the loss of life. The judge cited Locane's previously clean record and the impact on her 2 young daughters as mitigating factors. Unsatisfied, the Seaman family and prosecutors pursued appeals, pushing for a sentence that truly reflected the magnitude of Locane's crime. During these ongoing legal battles, her husband filed for divorce and sought custody of their children, further complicating the actress's personal life. Ultimately, in 2020, after years of legal wrangling, Locane's sentence was increased to 8 years, with a mandatory minimum of 6 years and 10 months before parole eligibility. Currently incarcerated at the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women, Locane recently lost an appeal for a reduced sentence. This tragic tale serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of drunk driving, even for those in the public eye. Joe Exotic. Joseph Maldonado Passage, now 61, exploded onto the scene thanks to the Netflix phenomenon Tiger King, which documented his flamboyant personality and the legal downfall that followed. The series highlighted his ownership of Oklahoma's Greater Wynwood Exotic Animal Park, a home for numerous big cats and other exotic creatures. His conflict with Carol Baskin, the operator of Big Cat Rescue, escalated dramatically. While Baskin accused Joe of mistreating animals and sought to shut down his zoo, Joe retaliated with harassment and threats, even going so far as to produce and distribute a music video depicting Baskin's demise. This feud reached a boiling point when, in 2017, Joe attempted to hire hitmen to murder Baskin. While the first potential hitman accepted payment but didn't follow through, the second turned out to be an undercover FBI agent who took $110,000 as part of the investigation. Maldonado Passage's troubles didn't end there. In addition to the murder-for-hire plot, he faced 17 counts of animal abuse, including the killing of 5 tigers to make room for new big cats in his park, and 9 counts of violating the Lacey Act for illegally selling tiger cubs across state lines. Arrested in 2019, he was found guilty and initially sentenced to 22 years. This was later reduced to 21 years in July 2021 by a federal appeals court. A late 2021 prostate cancer diagnosis led to unsuccessful attempts at compassionate release, and his projected release date remains in 2035 when he will be 72. Diddy. Music mogul and occasional actor Sean Diddy Combs, seen in movies like 2014's Draft Day, is embroiled in a shocking scandal far removed from the red carpet. Combs stands accused of orchestrating a vast sex trafficking ring, allegedly leveraging his fame and fortune to exploit women. The indictment paints a grim picture of Combs' alleged activities over a 10-year period, claiming he employed coercion, threats, and manipulation to control his victims. While his lawyers maintain his innocence, the prosecution has presented damning evidence. This includes the discovery of firearms and copious amounts of lubricant at his residences. Disturbingly, several alleged victims have come forward with harrowing accounts of abuse. Adding to the intrigue, sources say Combs has a history of unusual requests at high-end hotels, including insisting on blacked-out windows and specific room temperatures. While unrelated to the charges, it fuels speculation about his secretive nature. Facing a potential sentence of 15 years to life, Combs' fate hangs precariously. Denied bail twice, he currently resides at the Metropolitan Detention Center under suicide watch for precautionary reasons. Zach Avery. Zach Avery, the actor who played Mike in the 2021 film The Getaway, wasn't making headlines for his acting, but for his role as the mastermind of a massive Ponzi scheme. While his Hollywood dreams were stalling, interestingly, he once auditioned for a reality show about real estate, hinting at his future scams. Avery was living large thanks to his fraudulent investment company, One and MM Capital LLC. Between 2014 and 2019, he spun a web of lies, convincing investors he had lucrative distribution deals with giants like Netflix and HBO for foreign films. These deals, of course, were pure fiction. Promising returns as high as 40% in a single year, he even created fake contracts and documents to maintain the illusion. Over 5 years, Avery swindled investors out of a staggering $650 million, using the classic Ponzi tactic of paying early investors with funds from newer victims. His ill-gotten gains fueled a lavish lifestyle, including a $6 million mansion, luxury cars, and extravagant parties. He was even known to boast about his connections to Hollywood elite, adding to his deceptive charm. The scheme imploded in 2019, leaving hundreds of investors reeling and exposing Avery's opulent lifestyle as a sham. The day of his 2021 arrest for securities and wire fraud also saw his wife file for divorce and seek sole custody of their child. Pleading guilty to securities fraud, Avery received a 20-year federal prison sentence in October 2021, meaning he won't see freedom again until 2042 at the age of 54. Skyler Delon, a former child actor on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Skyler Delon orchestrated a horrific crime in California. In 2004, he, along with accomplices including his wife Jennifer Henderson, targeted Tom and Jackie Hawks, an older couple selling their yacht. Under the guise of a potential buyer, Delon lured them onto the vessel for a supposed sea trial. Once at sea, the Hawks were overpowered, bound to an anchor, and tragically thrown into the Pacific. Delon's motive was financial gain, aiming to use the yacht's proceeds to fund his sex reassignment surgery, a procedure he reportedly researched extensively online prior to the murders. Adding to his crimes, Delon was also connected to the 2003 murder of John Jarvie in Mexico, a man he'd met during a previous incarceration. Convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder for the Hawks and Jarvie, Delon was sentenced to death in 2009. Due to California's current suspension of capital punishment, he remains on death row at San Quentin State Prison. On a scale of 0 to 5, how shocking is it that a former Power Rangers actor was involved in a heinous crime? Comment with a number. Yong Su. The Squid Game star who captivated audiences as Player 001, Yong Su, found himself embroiled in a legal battle after being accused of sexual misconduct. A woman alleged an inappropriate touching incident back in 2017, formally filing a complaint in 2021. Although authorities initially dismissed the case due to lack of evidence, it was resurrected the following year. Yong Su vehemently denied any wrongdoing, claiming any contact was unintentional. Interestingly, before Squid Game, he was a revered figure in Korean theater, known for his deep portrayals of historical figures. This contrast made the allegations even more jarring. In late 2022, he was formally charged with indecent assault, a crime under South Korean law encompassing non-consensual sexual acts without the use of force. This legal action prompted the South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism to pull an advertising campaign featuring the actor. The accusation sent shockwaves internationally, particularly given his iconic role and historic Golden Globe win as the first Korean actor to win Best Supporting Actor. Ultimately, in March 2024, Yong Su received a suspended 8-month prison sentence with 2 years of probation and mandatory attendance at a 40-hour sexual violence treatment program. Michael Jace. 62-year-old Michael Jace, known for playing Officer Julian Lowe on The Shield, tragically ended his wife's life on May 19, 2014. Jace shot April Jace 3 times in their Los Angeles home, a devastating culmination of their decade-long marriage plagued by financial strain and Jace's jealousy. Interestingly, during his time on The Shield, Jace became close friends with several real-life LAPD officers, adding a chilling layer of irony to his later actions. The couple shared 2 young sons. Driven by suspicion that April, an avid runner, wanted to leave him and fueled by perceived interactions with other men, Jace reportedly told her, "If you like running, then run to heaven," before firing the fatal shots. He immediately called authorities, who discovered April's body at the scene. Jace's 2011 bankruptcy and history of domestic violence surfaced during the trial. Omitting the detail about Jace's initial first-degree murder charge, we learned that the prosecution pushed for this charge based on the fact that Jace had texted his wife about his intentions prior to the murder, a detail not originally included. Ultimately, the jury convicted him of second-degree murder in May 2016, concluding the act was intentional but not premeditated. Jace received a 40 years to life sentence, essentially guaranteeing he'll spend the rest of his life behind bars given his age. He currently resides in Corcoran State Prison. Shannon Richardson. Actress Shannon Richardson, known for small parts in The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries, became infamous in 2013 for a chilling crime far removed from the Hollywood spotlight. She mailed ricin-laced letters, a deadly poison derived from castor beans, to then-President Barack Obama, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and the director of Mayors Against Illegal Guns, Mark Glaze. This wasn't a fictional plotline, it was a real threat with potentially fatal consequences. Initially, Richardson attempted to frame her estranged husband, Nathan Richardson, amidst a bitter divorce, even planting evidence to support her claims. Investigators quickly uncovered the truth, revealing Shannon as the sole perpetrator. The FBI apprehended her in June 2013 in Texas after she confessed to creating and sending the toxic letters. Interestingly, before her acting career, Richardson had aspirations of becoming a CIA analyst, a stark contrast to the criminal path she chose. Charged with threatening the president, mailing threatening communications, and possessing a biological weapon, Richardson's defense claimed emotional instability brought on by her tumultuous marriage and pregnancy. However, the court saw her actions as calculated and dangerous. In July 2014, she pleaded guilty to possessing and producing a biological resulting in an 18-year federal prison sentence and a $360,400 restitution order. Richardson is currently incarcerated at the Federal Medical Center Carswell in Texas, with a projected release date around 2032. Julie and Todd Chrisley. Imagine a reality TV family, the Chrisleys, whose lives were once filled with lavish vacations and extravagant spending. But behind the glitz and glamour, a dark secret was brewing. Julie and Todd Chrisley, stars of the hit show Chrisley Knows Best, found themselves embroiled in a high-profile legal battle that landed them behind bars. In 2019, they were accused of a staggering array of crimes, including tax evasion, bank fraud, and wire fraud. Prosecutors alleged the couple had defrauded banks of millions by submitting false financial documents and hiding their income. Todd Chrisley, accused of securing $30 million in loans with falsified documents, was also found to have filed for bankruptcy in 2012, wiping out $20 million of debt. This wasn't just a financial scandal, it was a pattern of fraud and deception that spanned years. The show continued to air, but the allegations cast a shadow over the Chrisleys' image. Their daughter Savannah defended her parents, while son Chase focused on his spin-off show. The Chrisleys were charged with bank fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion, conspiracy to defraud the U.S., and submitting false documents for loans. In November 2022, both were convicted and sentenced to prison. Todd received 12 years, while Julie received 7 years. Their legal team continues to fight for a reduced sentence or an appeal, but their future remains uncertain. Todd is currently serving his sentence at FPC Pensacola in Florida, with a potential release date around 2034. Julie is at the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky, with a potential release date around 2030. Joe Sun. Joe Sun, the 53-year-old actor best known for his small but memorable role as Random Task in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery, is currently serving a life sentence for a shocking crime. Before he landed his Hollywood break, Sun was actually a mixed martial artist, but with a not-so-impressive record of 0 wins and 4 losses. Sun's past, however, is far more sinister than his fighting career. In 1990, on Christmas Eve, Sun and another individual kidnapped and brutally assaulted a woman in Huntington Beach, California. They subjected her to forced assault and degradation before finally letting her go. Despite the gravity of the crime, Sun managed to avoid prosecution for almost 2 decades. His secret life of crime was exposed in 2008 when his son was arrested for unrelated minor offenses. His DNA was added to the national database, leading to a match with the 1990 cold case implicating Sun in the brutal assault. The victim, who had been living with the trauma and without knowledge of her attackers for years, finally received the justice she deserved. While Sun's son was charged with multiple felonies, including kidnapping, torture, and forcible sexual assault, the statute of limitations on some charges prevented him from being prosecuted for the forced assault. He was instead charged with felony torture and other serious offenses related to the attack. In 2011, Sun's son was found guilty of felony torture and sentenced to 7 years to life in prison. His life of crime didn't end there, though. While serving his sentence, he was accused of killing his cellmate at Wasco State Prison in California in 2017. He was convicted of voluntary manslaughter and received an additional 27-year sentence behind bars. Sun's son is now serving a total of 34 years to life at the same prison. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein, a name synonymous with Hollywood power, became a symbol of the Me Too movement when numerous women accused him of sexual misconduct in 2017. The producer, known for bringing iconic films like Pulp Fiction and The King's Speech to life, was accused of decades of sexual harassment and assault. The accusations, detailed in reports from the New York Times and the New Yorker, exposed a culture of abuse within the industry. Actress Ashley Judd and Rose McGowan bravely came forward, highlighting the systemic power imbalances that allowed such abuse to flourish. Weinstein's downfall was swift and dramatic. In May 2018, he was arrested in New York on charges including forcible sexual assault and predatory sexual assault. His empire, the Weinstein Company, crumbled, and he was expelled from the Academy, stripped of his CBE honor by the Queen, and faced a divorce. The once powerful producer was now facing the consequences of his actions. In February 2020, Weinstein was convicted of criminal sexual assault and forcible sexual assault, but acquitted of predatory sexual assault. He was sentenced to 23 years in New York and an additional 16 years in California in 2023. However, in April 2024, his New York convictions were overturned due to trial judge errors, setting the stage for a retrial. Currently incarcerated at Mohawk Correctional Facility at age 72, Weinstein is scheduled for release at age 107. Do you believe that the abuse of power, as seen in the case of Harvey Weinstein, is an inevitable consequence of unchecked authority? Comment with yes or no to join the discussion. Will Hayden. Imagine a reality TV star, known for his gunsmithing skills and his role on the Discovery Channel's Sons of Guns, suddenly facing a devastating fall from grace. Will Hayden, the man who built a career around firearms, was accused of serious sexual offenses in 2014. His daughter, Stephanie Ford, who also appeared on the show, publicly accused him of sexually abusing her as a child, adding to the mounting allegations. More victims came forward, claiming that Hayden had sexually assaulted them over many years. One victim described how Hayden had forced himself on her when she was just a teenager. The accusations were so severe that the Discovery Channel canceled Sons of Guns, and Red Jacket Firearms severed ties with Hayden. His family members, especially Stephanie, publicly denounced him. In April 2017, Hayden was found guilty on 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault and 1 count of forcible sexual assault. He received 2 life sentences without parole for the aggravated sexual assault convictions and an additional 40 years for the forcible sexual assault charge. The judge ordered that Hayden serve his sentences consecutively, ensuring he would never be released from prison. 3 months later, he received a 3rd life sentence after pleading no contest to another charge of forcible sexual assault. The 59-year-old is now serving his sentences at Louisiana State Penitentiary. Colin Walker. Colin Walker, known for his role in the 2018 film Superfly, is serving a 50-year-to-life sentence for multiple counts of forcible sexual assault. The actor, once a rising star, was accused of using his celebrity status to lure aspiring models into dangerous situations. He allegedly promised them opportunities in the entertainment industry, then exploited their trust to assault them. Prosecutors revealed that Walker often contacted victims through social media, posing as a legitimate industry professional, and the abuse spanned several years, beginning in 2013. Walker was found guilty in October 2022 after over a dozen women came forward with accusations of sexual misconduct. The jury's verdict highlighted the pattern of abuse and the actor's deliberate manipulation of his victims. The court recognized the severity of his crimes, especially considering Walker's blatant use of his influence to prey on vulnerable women. As a result, Walker's sentence, which includes a potential release date in the 2070s, effectively ensures that he'll spend the majority of his life behind bars. Walker's conviction serves as a stark reminder that even those who appear to have it all can be capable of horrific crimes. Danny Masterson. Danny Masterson, known for his role as Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show, now behind bars. Masterson was recently convicted of 2 counts of forcible sexual assault, a shocking turn of events for the once beloved actor. The accusations against him date back to the early 2000s when 3 women came forward, alleging he sexually assaulted them in separate incidents between 2001 and 2003. These women were all connected to the Church of Scientology, a religion Masterson was deeply involved with. Initially, these allegations were kept under wraps, allegedly due to the church's influence. The women claimed they were pressured by the church to not report the incidents, facing threats of excommunication or other consequences if they did. It wasn't until the Sadir Me Too movement gained momentum that these accusations resurfaced, prompting new investigations in 2017. The Los Angeles Police Department reopened its investigation, and by 2020, Masterson was charged with 3 counts of forcible sexual assault. Prosecutors argued that Masterson used his position within the Church of Scientology to silence his victims and evade justice for years. In May 2023, after a lengthy trial, Masterson was convicted on 2 counts of forcible sexual assault. However, the jury was unable to reach a verdict on the 3rd count, resulting in a mistrial. In September 2023, Masterson was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, meaning he won't be eligible for parole until he's at least 78 years old. He is currently serving his sentence at California Men's Colony, a medium to minimum security prison in San Luis Obispo. Interestingly, Masterson's younger brother, who plays Francis on Malcolm in the Middle, is a stark reminder of the family ties that can be intertwined with the world of fame. Drew Drexel. Drew Drexel, who gained fame as the 2019 champion of American Ninja Warrior, was arrested in August 2020. The news of his arrest stunned his fans, who had long admired his athletic abilities, showcased on the popular television series. The gravity of the situation escalated when he faced serious accusations related to child exploitation. This troubling case initiated when a mother reported to law enforcement that Drexel had engaged in inappropriate sexual behavior with her teenage daughter. The allegations were particularly alarming as they reportedly began when the girl was merely 15 years old. Drexel was charged with engaging in illegal sexual activities with the minor and traveling across state lines for unlawful purposes. The investigation revealed disturbing evidence, including explicit messages exchanged between Drexel and the victim. Following these shocking revelations, NBC and the producers of American Ninja Warrior acted decisively by severing all connections with Drexel. They promptly removed any content that featured him and distanced the show from the unfolding scandal. Sponsors and business partners also withdrew their support, effectively signaling an end to his career in the realm of competitive sports entertainment. At 35, Drexel found himself facing a plethora of serious charges, encompassing the production of illegal materials involving children, enticing a minor to travel for sexual misconduct, and using interstate commerce to provoke sexual interactions with a minor. As of September 2024, Drexel's court battles continue, carrying the grim possibility of a lengthy prison sentence of up to 45 years if convicted on all counts. Interestingly, Drexel wasn't just known for his athletic feats. He had once dreamt of being a professional stuntman, having trained in martial arts and gymnastics. Zara Fithian. Zara Fithian, celebrated for her performance in Doctor Strange and her expertise in martial arts, was convicted in 2022 alongside her spouse, Victor Mark, for the sexual exploitation of a minor. These offenses occurred between 2005 and 2008, targeting a victim who was still underage. Utilizing her rising fame within the entertainment sphere and as a martial artist, Fithian manipulated the victim, initiating the abuse after grooming her with alcohol and false promises. Fans were left in disbelief, especially given Fithian's impressive achievements, which include numerous martial arts championships. Ultimately, Fithian was charged with multiple counts of sexual abuse against a minor, leading to her conviction on 14 separate charges of illegal sexual activity with a child. Mark, meanwhile, faced additional allegations of sexual assault concerning a different young victim. In a May 2022 ruling, Zara Fithian received an 8-year prison sentence for her involvement, while Victor Mark was handed a harsher 14-year sentence due to his more substantial role in the crimes. The presiding judge condemned both for their long-term exploitation of the victim, emphasizing the enduring psychological trauma inflicted. At age 40, Fithian is anticipated to be released in 2030. Notably, Fithian was once a finalist in the World Kickboxing Association Championships, highlighting a stark contrast between her athletic prowess and the crimes she committed. Love this video? Show some love with a like and a subscribe. Hate it? A like would still be awesome, and your feedback in the comments will help me improve. Josh Duggar. Josh Duggar, a 36-year-old former star of the TLC reality show 19 Kids and Counting, has encountered a series of controversies that ultimately resulted in his arrest and imprisonment. His troubles began in 2015 when shocking details emerged regarding the sexual abuse of several younger sisters and a family friend that occurred during his adolescence in the early 2000s. These revelations prompted the cancellation of the Duggar family's television series, which had showcased their large, conservative family lifestyle. In April 2021, he was apprehended on federal charges relating to child sexual abuse materials, facing 2 counts, one for receiving and another for possessing such materials. Each of these charges carries the possibility of a 20-year prison sentence. The nature of the content discovered in Duggar's possession was reportedly so horrific that it led a Department of Homeland Security agent to label it among the most disturbing he had ever encountered. By December 2021, he was found guilty on both counts, and in May 2022, he was sentenced to 12 years and 7 months in federal prison without the possibility of parole, which reflects standard federal sentencing practices. Following his release, Duggar will face 20 years of supervised release and must register as a sex offender. Unlike other public figures who have faced similar legal predicaments and often found their relationships crumbling, Duggar received unwavering support from his wife, Anna, throughout the trial. Interestingly, Anna has reportedly expressed her desire to remain with him despite the serious charges. Currently, he is serving his sentence at FCI Segoville, a federal facility in Texas, and will be 48 years old when he becomes eligible for release. Jerry Harris. Jerry Harris, a 25-year-old figure famed for his role in the Netflix docuseries Cheer, was arrested in September 2020 amid a federal investigation regarding allegations of child sexual exploitation. Renowned for his infectious enthusiasm and impressive cheerleading abilities, Harris's public image took a drastic turn when two teenage twins accused him of sexual misconduct. Reports suggested that Harris had repeatedly sought explicit materials from the boys, starting when they were just 13. This triggered a federal inquiry, which unearthed evidence showing Harris allegedly utilized apps like Snapchat to request inappropriate content from multiple minors. The investigation revealed numerous explicit messages and videos sent by him, strengthening the accusations against him. His arrest surprised many, especially given his previously wholesome reputation portrayed in Cheer. In the wake of the allegations, the production team quickly severed ties with him, and corporate partners, including Varsity Spirit, cut their sponsorships. Initially charged with creating lewd content involving minors, Harris ultimately faced 7 federal charges that included enticing a minor for sexual activities and trying to receive illegal materials involving children. In February 2022, he entered a guilty plea to 2 of these charges under a plea agreement. On July 20, 2022, he was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison for engaging in child sexual exploitation. Following his release, he will be placed under supervised release for 8 years, during which his digital interactions and communications with minors will be closely monitored. His anticipated release date is around 2034. Interestingly, before his fall from grace, Harris was known not only for his cheerleading prowess, but also for his advocacy work, helping raise awareness about bullying and the importance of mental health in sports, which further highlights the shocking dichotomy of his story. Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle, once the iconic representative of Subway, left the world in disbelief when his concealed life came to light, sharply contrasting with the clean-cut image he portrayed. Fogle's fame skyrocketed in the late 1990s, largely due to his impressive transformation where he lost over 200 pounds, crediting this change to a diet primarily consisting of Subway sandwiches. Known as the Subway Guy, he became a household name, featuring in a plethora of commercials, attending public events, and even making an appearance in the cult film Sharknado. Yet, behind the facade, his life was tainted by unsettling realities. An FBI inquiry, initiated by a tip-off from a journalist, unveiled Fogle's involvement in the possession and dissemination of explicit materials involving minors, alongside his participation in inappropriate activities with them. The investigation exposed that Fogle obtained some of this material from Russell Taylor, a trusted associate who documented them at his residence. With his reputation shattered, Fogle's wife promptly sought a divorce. In 2015, he accepted a plea deal for his offenses, resulting in a nearly 16-year federal prison sentence, with a minimum of 13 years required before he could be considered for parole. Moreover, he was mandated to pay hefty fines and restitution to his victims. Currently, he resides in a low-security federal correctional facility in Colorado, a stark departure from his once storied position in the public eye. Interestingly, amidst the scandal, Fogle's journey serves as a reminder of the hidden struggles that can exist even behind the most polished public personas. Tamara Lynn. Sitch. Tamara Lynn Sitch, better known as Sunny from the WWE universe, emerged as a trailblazer in the wrestling industry during the 1990s, a time when female wrestlers were gaining significant recognition. However, her life has been overshadowed by a series of unfortunate events stemming from legal issues and struggles with addiction. One particularly tragic incident occurred on March 25, 2022, when Sitch, while speeding and under the influence, caused a fatal car crash in Ormond Beach, Florida. This devastating accident took the life of 75-year-old Julian Lassiter. Her blood alcohol content was far above the legal threshold. Following the incident, Sitch was charged with DUI manslaughter alongside other infractions, including driving with a suspended license. This event was the culmination of numerous prior DUI arrests, marking her as a repeat offender. In a heart-wrenching turn, Lassiter's family sought over $100,000 in damages. By August 2023, Sitch entered a no-contest plea to the charges and was sentenced to 17 years in prison, reflecting the strict legal consequences for her actions under Florida law, given her previous history. Born in 1971, she will be 67 upon her anticipated release in 2039. Interestingly, prior to these legal troubles, Sitch had also made headlines for her involvement in charitable work, including advocating for anti-bullying campaigns, showcasing a stark contrast to her later difficulties. Instia Ryan Grantham. Ryan Grantham, a 25-year-old actor known for his roles in Riverdale and Diary of a Wimpy Kid, found himself in serious legal trouble when he was arrested in March 2020 for murdering his mother, Barbara Waite. At the age of 21, he tragically shot her while she was playing the piano in their home, located in Squamish, British Columbia. Following the horrific act, Grantham had sinister intentions, preparing to embark on a violent spree. He packed his car with weapons and homemade incendiary devices, with the alarming goal of traveling to Ottawa to attempt to assassinate Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Ultimately, he reconsidered his plan and chose to surrender to police at a Vancouver station, openly confessing to the murder of his mother. Charged with second-degree murder, he faced a potential life sentence in Canada. This classification of murder indicates it was intentional yet not premeditated. His trial illuminated the mental health challenges he faced, including deep-seated depression and suicidal ideation leading up to the crime. It was further disclosed that he had rehearsed and recorded the act prior to committing it. In September 2022, Grantham received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 14 years, which could allow for his release in 2036, by which time he would be nearing his late 30s. While the judge considered both his age and mental health struggles, they emphasized the deliberate nature of the murder and the threat he posed for future violence, casting a dark shadow over his once promising acting career. Interestingly, prior to his arrest, Grantham had appeared in various productions that explored themes of family and adolescence, which sharply contrast the tragic reality of his life choices. Jen Shah. Jen Shah, a prominent figure from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, found herself embroiled in legal troubles when she was arrested in March 2021 for her involvement in a telemarketing fraud operation that preyed on vulnerable individuals. Alongside her associate Stuart Smith, she faced charges related to the deception of hundreds, predominantly targeting the elderly and those lacking technological savvy. The U.S. Department of Justice alleged that this illicit scheme had been active for nearly a decade, peddling fictitious services such as website creation and business coaching. Interestingly, Shah's extravagant lifestyle, marked by designer clothing and lavish parties, was partially funded by the gains from these illegal activities. The dramatic moment of her arrest was captured for the show, turning her legal woes into a significant storyline. Initially, Shah entered a not guilty plea, but as her trial approached, she changed her stance to guilty in July 2022, admitting to charges including wire fraud and conspiracy to launder money. In January 2023, she was handed a 6.5-year prison sentence, alongside an order to repay over $9 million and forfeit $6.5 million. Her sentence was more lenient than the maximum of 30 years due to her guilty plea and willingness to compensate her victims. Presently, she is serving her time in a minimum security women's facility in Texas, with a projected release date in 2029. Meanwhile, an intriguing fact about her is that before her rise to reality TV fame, she had built a career in the fashion industry, showcasing her multifaceted personality. From red carpets to prison cells, today's stories remind us that even the brightest stars can cast dark shadows. What did today's episode teach you about the price of fame? Let's talk in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more.